Shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Albert Wexler. I'm the director of the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast. And we are here at Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast's offices. Together with me is Knesset member Matan Kahana. Matan has been the Minister of Religious Affairs in the former cabinet and the Security Cabinet member, a combat soldier, a fighter pilot, squadron commander.
I started my service in the elite unit Sayeret Matkal, and when all my friends from the team released from the army, I started it all over again in the flying academy. I finished as a fighter pilot, and I was a squadron commander and a colonel in the Israeli Air Force.
Well, in my eyes, you are a real hero, because I don't know so many people that go into the elite unit, combat unit, and then say, well, it's not enough for me, I'll do also the pilot course.
Well, I'm not a hero, and as you know, after the 7th of October, there is a new start for heroes, because a lot of Israelis came from all over the country to join the battle in near the Gaza Strip. Those are the true heroes.
Well, they definitely are. I mean, I heard about a helicopter pilot that was able to land a helicopter with 50 people.
After it was hit.
Yeah. Was hit, and then and nobody was hurt.
It's a miracle. It's just a miracle.
And many who took their weapons without knowing even where they go, and were fighting with these terrorists, and they were coming in by thousands.
You know, in the first missile attack, and this Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m., I thought to myself, oh, it's going to be a winter day. I thought it's thunder. And then the siren came, and I realized that something different is happening. I have 4 boys. 2 of them are fighters, commandants in the Israeli army. And I woke them up, and I told them, go straight to your units. And that's what they did. And we started to understand what happening in the south part of Israel. And it was terrible. It was terrible.
And we saw many heroic acts. We saw people alone, single-handedly taking down tens.
Those are true heroes.
Those are true heroes.
Yes.
I agree with you, and I think it is powerful. But you were also called to reserve unit.
Yeah, I used to be a fighter pilot, but I'm too old to continue with this. So I'm doing my best, and I'm serving in a reserve force, and I'm one of the soldiers who were keeping one of the southern cities in Israel. But you know, Albert, it's very important to understand what Hamas tried to do in the 7th of October barbaric attack. They are trying to challenge our most important idea, that Israel is a safe haven to the Jewish people. Therefore, we know that for us it's a do-or-die war. And this war must finish when the Hamas is not existing anymore, not as a regime and not as a military force in the southern area of Israel.
Now, you were also the Security Cabinet Minister, and I mean, you have the inside picture of how Israeli government is functioning in these times of crisis. And what do you say? What is going on? What can you tell us? And then how would our friends, our Christian friends who are watching us, pray for the Israeli government?
So, as we said before, the Hamas succeed to surprise us. But we are now one hand against this enemy, this barbaric enemy. And you know, we were facing terrible atrocities and horrors. They came to rape our women. They came to slaughter us. They kidnap kids. They kidnap old people. And they are hostages now in Gaza. They are barbaric in a way that you can't explain. Animals kill only when they are hungry, they want to eat. Those monsters kill for their joy. And you know, maybe after this war will end, we will have to rethink about some of our assumptions. And I thought that maybe if they will have good life in Gaza Strip, they leave us alone and they will do the best for themselves. But we found out that it's much more important for them to kill Jews than bring good life to their people. And they forcing us to speak in their language, to speak Arabic. They understand the language of force. It's apparently we see that there is no room for weak in our neighborhood.
Well, I think there is also the dimension of Islam and the radical Islam as a religion that has certain goals, and we cannot ignore those goals.
You can't ignore these goals, and all over the world they must understand that what's happening in Israel will happen in a few years in their homelands. And the radical Islamic, they have a goal to control over the world.
All the world.
All the world.
But it's interesting to see that in spite of this horrible attack and tragedy, there are many people, many Jewish people that are making plans to make Aliyah, to come to Israel. And another thing that we saw, 200,000 Israelis left their vacations, their jobs, their work, whatever they were doing abroad, and they came to Israel to fight this war.
Well, unfortunately, we are seeing now a lot of anti-Semitism all over the world. And many Jews in the world understand that even though we had experienced such a terrible barbaric attack, Israel is still the most safe place for Jews. And I hope that a lot of Jews will make this decision to come home, to come to the Jews' home here in Israel. And I also ask our true Christian friends to condemn this anti-Semitism and to stand by our side.
Well, there's been many, Matan, there's been many. I
know.
Heard there was a big demonstration in Estonia, in Tallinn. There was a big one in Auckland, in New Zealand, in Tübingen, in Germany. There have been several massive demonstrations for Israel, but also
the Christian, the evangelicals, our true friends. We are sharing the same Christian Judeo values, and their moral support is so important for us, especially in these days.
I've seen also in Helsinki and in London, they had these big tables set for the hostages, these empty seats, demanding the hostages to be freed. And
I think that they understand who we are dealing with, and we are dealing with monsters that kidnapped little kids, babies. There are babies in the prison now in the Gaza Strip. This is the monsters that we are dealing with. And you know, they are hiding all their infrastructure and headquarters under their hospital, because they know that we are not like them, and they think that we will never attack civilians' targets. And I'm telling you, as a former fighter pilot, we will never aim our bombs on civilians, and we will do our best to reduce the casualties of civilians. But every people in Gaza Strip must understand that we had to take off our gloves, and we can't continue with the method of knocking on the roof, launching a little bomb before we are launching the big bomb, or calling the people in the infrastructure of Hamas to leave the places. We now in a do or die war, and we gave a general warning to the civilians there to get to leave the northern part of Gaza Strip, because we will have to fight in a different way. And every civilian that find himself near a Hamas warrior, monster, or Hamas facilities must understand that he is near a legitimate target.
Well, you have seen, of course, Gaza Strip from above, from the cockpit, and you have been doing these combat missions many times. It is so unfortunate that Hamas is keeping not just 239 of Israelis as hostages, their own people. They are threatening them. They are not allowing them to leave.
They're not allowing them to leave their places. Yeah. We told all the civilians to leave the northern part of Gaza Strip to the south part. But the Hamas is standing there, and they're not letting them go down.
Now, the recent United Nations General Assembly resolution, which is not binding, but still it shows where the world is. It was a Jordanian initiative. They decided not to mention Hamas, not to condemn Hamas, not to mention hostages, not to demand hostages to be freed. And of course, there was this automatic majority condemning Israel by saying that Israel needs to stop firing on Gaza Strip. And it's the whole world coming against us, is it?
This votes is supporting terror. It's supporting terror because they are choosing the side of those who came to murder kids while they were sleeping. They are supporting the side of those who came to rape our women. They are choosing the side of those who came to burn people alive. This is what the monsters of Hamas did in the 7th of October. And it's unbelievable.
But again, what is unbelievable to me, of course, we've seen it happening through many years now, but United Nations has totally lost its mandate. It's totally lost its purpose. I mean, instead of condemning terrorism, they are condemning basically a democratic country that is fighting for its existence and for its citizens.
They are trying to claim that we are not fighting in a proportional way. But I ask you, what is proportional way to act after they are raping our women? What is the proportional way to act after they are burning alive our babies? There is no proportional way. We are in a do or die war. And
it is horrible. I mean, these pictures that I've seen, and I mean, I wouldn't recommend anyone to see this. But again, at the same time, we need to understand what we are facing, and this tragedy that hit us on 7th of October took the whole country into a different situation. Restaurants are closed, shops are closed, our boys, our sons are in the army. My boy is called up, your sons are called up. It's not an easy time. I heard people...
No, it's not an easy time, but we know that we must do it.
We must do it.
They forced us to fight.
And we can ask our dear friends, our Christian friends all over the world, to pray for our soldiers. There are so many stories in the Bible how God blinded the enemies, Syrians, when they came to attack us, how God gave wisdom to David as he was fighting, gave him very specific guidance when to start a war, that our government, our military would have the same supernatural wisdom how to bring these hostages out, how to defeat Hamas, and how to bring Israel into a new situation. Now, we are facing also another threat from north. I mean, Hizbollah with 200,000 rockets is aiming at us. It's not an easy enemy, is it?
It's not an easy enemy, but Israel is stronger. We are superpower here in this region. And I think that Hezbollah should see what we are doing to the Hamas in Gaza Strip. And they must understand that exactly what will happen to them if they will try to fight us. And they will lose the regime, they will lose their infrastructure, and we now started to speak in their language. We started to speak Arabic.
But, you know, I even see, Lebanese government is trying to hold back Hezbollah. They have just no power. Hezbollah is doing what they want to do, or actually Hezbollah is doing what Iran tells them to do. Because, Matan, we are talking about Iranian nuclear ambitions.
Just imagine how the condition was if Iran had nuclear bomb now.
Now, it's horrible to think even, because Iranian idea of spreading the Islamic revolution all over the world, I mean, and their ideology is supporting creating a world chaos.
What we learned in a very heavy price that they don't care about their people. Their mission is to kill Jews. And when they had the opportunity, they did it. And just imagine what will happen if the Iranian, the Shia regime, will have a nuclear bomb. We understand that when they have the opportunity, they're using it.
They will use it because they are different than even communists were during the Cold War, because communists at least were rational, but radical Islam has a goal of creating a world chaos.
We thought that after we left Gaza Strip, they will do everything to get their life better. And we hope that if their life will be better, they will leave us alone and live and let live. But apparently we saw that we learned that it's more important for them to kill Jews than doing good things for their people.
We heard a young man take the victim's phone and call their parents a terrorist,
And
calling
shouting in glory.
and I've killed 10 Jews, and the parents say, we're so happy for Allah and for you and all of this, and it's a different culture, it's a different regime, it's a different ideology.
You know what they are shouting in battle? It's Allah Akbar, Adbah al-Yahud. God is great, kill Jews. This is what they are shouting. This is the people we are dealing with.
And of course, if you think of Iraqi nuclear reactor, Osirak, in, what was it, 1981?
Yeah.
You were not around then, were you?
No.
Yeah.
I was in
But again, if Iraq would have had nuclear weapons, the Gulf Wars would have looked so different. Maybe they wouldn't have even taken place.
We must do everything to make sure that not any Arab regime have nuclear bomb.
Think of
Or
Syria.
Islamic regime.
Syria. Then you were around in 2009, 7?
Yeah.
2007?
I was around.
And I mean, Ehud Olmert took this important decision to take it out.
Yeah.
And so, were you there? You cannot tell.
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. So, but you see, this was a very important moment because we had to get rid of it because look what happened in Syria in 2011.
But you know, the whole world must understand that it's not the only Israel problem and the Jewish problem. Atomic bomb in the hands of Islamic regime is a problem to all the peace in the world. And I hope that at least the United States understand it, that it's not our, you know, the Iranians say that Israel is the little Satan, but the big Satan is the United States.
It's the free world. They're afraid of the free world and they want to make an end to the free world. And so that's why, I mean, many of my friends in the United States have been very concerned seeing the Islamic radicals come to the streets of United States, shouting and demanding that Jews would be killed.
They just have to listen to the preachers of the Islamic how you call them, sheikhs in the mosques in the Western countries, and to understand what they are planning for us.
Well, this is the problem. I think they are very clear. They are saying what they are planning. They are planning to take over the whole world, and we have not been listening. That's the point.
We saw that in this neighborhood, maybe in all the world, there is no place to weak. And now, as I told you before, we started to speak in their language.
Matan, you have been one of the voices for unity in Israeli society. I mean, we saw some very, very disconcerting views of long months of demonstrations against the judicial reform, for judicial reform. House divided will fall, and this is what our enemies would want. I saw you as someone who stood up for the unity in the land.
Yes, I did my best to call for unity government. I thought that in this time in history we can't be so divided, and unfortunately this war began and forced us to establish a unity government, some kind of unity government. But the enemy is mistaken about us. Was mistaken about us because when we have an enemy that come from out of Israel, we're one hand against it.
And I think your idea for the unity government is very, very important one. And I would ask our friends also to pray for the Israeli government. I mean, they are in big need. It's a very complicated matter. Obviously, fighting on two fronts already now, and bringing the solutions, bringing creative solutions in situations that are totally impossible. Yeah. Israel has been so strong actually in doing this. Entebbe, 1976.
Israel is strong. We are a superpower in this region. We have the most powerful army in all this region and maybe one of the strongest armies in all the world. As I told you before, they succeeded to surprise us, but we will win this war. We have no other choice. We have no other place to go. And you know, it's a great opportunity for me to thank all our Christian friends, all our evangelical friends all over the world, and to tell them that their friendship is so important for us. Their moral support is so important for us. And they know who is the righteous and who is the evil. And we are fighting together the pure evil. And I'm so happy that they know to choose right.
And Matan, you have been a host, the Knesset host for Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast for many years. And I think this is so important that the initiative to pray for the peace of Jerusalem came from the Knesset and from a Knesset member like yourself.
Yeah, we are doing it together, Albert, and I'm so happy for this. And I learned that we have true friends all over the world that praying for our safety, for our peace, and praying for the Jewish people.
And you also traveled with us. You came to Dallas, you came to St. Louis, you've been, of course, hosting us here in Jerusalem, Stockholm.
Parliament.
Can you come with us to Stockholm?
Well, let's see what will be the condition here.
Well, April 4 and 5, we will be in Stockholm.
I hope that until then we will finish the war, we will win this war, and everything will look different.
I really believe so too. There is a sense that things will look very different in many different dimensions. And we would like to thank you for tuning in today. And we are inviting you to tune in every day, 1 o'clock Jerusalem time, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. The Bible says clearly, they will prosper who love Jerusalem. Those who bless the seed of Abraham will be blessed. Thank you, Matan. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Albert.
And shalom from Jerusalem.
Shalom, shalom.